Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do, put the phones away. Time to put the phones away. Time to get the journals out. Time to get ready to take notes. So we've got a 4-day week this week, so no school on Friday thanks to Veterans Day. And then a full week next week, and then another 2-day week because of Thanksgiving. And then between when we get back, we have 2 weeks and then a 4-day week before winter break. So it's kind of breaking up. So what I've decided to do is do some shorter projects, meaning we're going to be learning how to take photographs in other ways and collecting those photos. And then when we come back after winter break in January, we'll be using these photos for other projects as we wrap up the semester, which is not that far away. Now, I don't see any of this trash. I certainly hope so, because you guys are making too much work for me. Uh-huh. Yes?
It's been like this for some minutes.
It's shutting down?
For 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes, huh?
Yeah, that lollipop looks good.
No. Do you?
No, it looks like mold.
Oh, this happened yesterday. Kind of turns off and turns back on a couple of times. There we go. Waiting for that dot to finish. There we go. Power saver mode. Okay. Wait for that light to go out. Oh man. Whew. I think it finally died. Let's bring it back to life. Okay, so I'll write it on a board in a minute, but I want all of you actually to tell me a definition of the word texture. And if you want to look it up, you can. I'm just waiting to see if it's going to work. Well, you'll let me know if it doesn't work. Okay. So we're going to be, for a couple of class periods, because we're going to finish this up by Tuesday of next week, taking these pictures and figuring out how to store them, okay? What to kind of do with them. So hopefully you have your journals out and your phones away, and you are getting ready to write down a definition of texture.
Yeah, it's working fine.
So is your phone.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like it's approved.
Uh-huh.
The definition.
Oh, I forgot to clarify texture in relation to photography or visual art. Okay. So who can give me a definition of, who would like to give me a definition of texture, especially in relation to photography? I don't know. Maybe for you. Apparently somebody has a fun definition over here. Anybody? Definition of texture, especially when it relates to photography? I'm going to take a stab at it. It's really a terrible phrase to use. It's very violent. Yes?
The feel, appearance, or consistency of a surface or substance.
Oh yeah, that's what, yeah, okay. So the feel, appearance, or consistency of a surface or substance. Whew. Okay. So, okay, how do I mean, that's a good definition. I don't know how it relates to photography, though. That's what I'm trying to figure out. When we are capturing texture in photography, how do we define that? What are we trying to capture? Good, I'm getting you guys thinking. I like that. That's good. That's a good thing. Don't. When we're thinking about photography and we want to capture texture, how do we define that? What are we looking for? What are we trying to capture when we're trying to capture texture? Yes? A feeling? That's getting kind of emotional, I think. Yeah, but you're onto something in the sense of how something feels. I mean, that's what texture is about. Texture is about how a surface feels. But then how do we add the dimension of photography to that? Okay. Boy, you guys, whew, man. Tough day. So, let's do this. Since you guys are, the look of how something or a surface Ben, we're getting awful excited about something over there. What's going on? I sense a lot of energy from you right now. How's it going? Yeah? So, texture, when it comes to photography, the look of how a surface feels. The look of how a surface feels. And there's an example for me, huh? Okay. The look of how a surface feels. Now, the real question is, what are some examples of how a surface can feel? Keep that in your brain. Where's your notes? Oh, really said fine. Yada, 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 yada. Don't you have a journal? Like an actual notebook? See? Who can remember the last question I asked to be answered? One. Yeah?
What is texture?
No. Close though. That was the one before that.
You were looking to capture texture in photography during
Close, but no. Examples of the kinds of textures that we can photograph. How do we describe when a surface has a texture? What are some examples of different textures that surfaces can have? That's a real complicated question for simple answers. Sophia, I know you got something in your brain. What is it? Do you have an example? I'm really not trying to stretch your brain. I mean, this is a really easy question. But I want you to start thinking about this because it's going to help you when you make decisions about how to take photos for this project. So, what are some ways to describe different textures? Hey, thank you. Whew, man, I didn't think we were ever going to get there. It's not that big of a deal, but anyway, there you go. Okay, bumpy. Whew.
Materials, are those like cotton?
Those are actual materials, but how would you describe their texture? Smooth. We're getting there. And what else? Fuzzy, sure, we'll take fuzzy. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Remember that one? Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? Oh, sorry. What else? Yeah? Rough. As in R-O-U-G-H, not R-U-F-F. Okay? How else can we describe a textured surface? We're just getting started here. Fluffy. Similar to fuzzy, but different. Okay? Yes? Slimy. Ooh, wow. You know, I did this for 2 classes yesterday and no one thought of slimy. Rigid. Okay. So, now when I hear the word rigid, I'm thinking of something that's very tough. But you're talking about something with ridges, I think, yes?
Flappy.
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 Huh. We'll put it down. That's more of a motion than it is a texture, but I don't know. You're thinking something. Yes? Silky, very good. We'll put silky next to smooth because it's very similar. If I could spell, that would be... Oops, sorry, wrong. S-I-L-K-Y, there we are. Okay. What else? Anything else? Sticky. You guys are really getting into the texture, which is true. Oops. Okay. Anything else?
Shiny.
Okay. We'll put that up here with smooth and silky. I think it's 1 N, I think. Okay, very good. Anything else? I mean, there is other things. I thought of wavy. Okay, we have bumpy, wavy, similar. Coarse. Okay. Any other textures that you can think of to describe? Porous, P-O-R-E-O-U-S. I believe that's the correct spelling. As in pores of your skin, or colander kind of a thing. Okay, so you have an idea at this point that there are lots of different textures that we can capture with cameras, with photography. But then we have to figure out how. Right? Boy, you guys are either really tired today or something. I don't know. Okay, so 3 things that are going to be needed to capture really cool pictures of texture. And again, think of the obvious. What would be something that you need to capture textures photographically? Lighting, is that what you said? Very good. Yep, absolutely true. Okay. What's another something that you would need to capture texture photographically? Again, think the obvious. Yes? Hey, thank you. Yes, an actual camera. Okay? And last but not least, one more thing you're going to need to capture texture photographically. The actual object or surface. Absolutely correct. Yes. Okay? And some of them you'll be able to hold on to. Some of them you'll have to go and stand next to that. Okay, so let's start with objects. When I'm looking around, rule number one, all of the pictures that are going to be taken for this particular project are going to be done in the classroom or the studio. Okay? So no, I'm going to go out and take pictures of texture. It has to be done in the classroom. Okay? Now, on the one hand, that might seem limiting, but I don't think it is, because I think I have lots and lots of stuff that can provide examples of different textures. Where might those objects be found in the classroom? Anybody know? So all these trays over here, most of them are filled with various kinds of objects that have all sorts of interesting textures. Okay? I've got plush toys, I've got Barbie dolls, I've got Legos, I've got old army toys, I've got bubble wrap, which will not be popped, by the way. I just want you to know that. Okay? No popping of bubble wrap. Okay? I've got straws, leaves. I don't want to go through it all. You get to look through the trays to see if there's anything in there of interest that you think would make a good type of texture to capture with a camera. The cabinet, tall cabinet on the left has lots of different shelves, and on those different shelves are different objects that can be used in texture. I've got an old hunk of driftwood around here somewhere. I've got different reflective appliances and stuff. I've got all kinds of stuff. In the bottom two shelves of the tall cabinet on the right, which is where the cameras are also located, are different cloths that you obviously have texture to them. Okay? So those are the main areas that you have textures. I've also got different pieces of styrofoam. I've got corkboard. I just keep going and going and going. Okay? So the different objects around in the classroom, okay, are going to help you do this in the classroom. How is the camera going to help you capture texture? Well, you have to use it to take the picture. That helps, right? But what we've been learning about the past couple of projects that will also help you to take a really cool picture of texture. The exposure settings. Thank you. Absolutely correct. 100%. Right? So you're still thinking about all of your exposure settings, because in some respects the actual environment might not automatically provide you with the correct what? What's our third thing? Nope. Lighting. Yay. Okay. Now today I just want you to kind of I'm just going to push you in there and just going to have you around, and if you want to take some pictures you can, but explore different textures to find and to potentially take pictures of. Exposure settings can help you create the effect of light if there's either too much light or not enough light. Okay. Lighting. So there's natural light, and we have some in this, but not a lot. And we have artificial light. Okay? We have these spotlights and other things. What else do we have? So we have I'll call them spotlights. What else? potentially create a very interesting photo of texture. Think back to when we did the lighting stuff. Yes? Color lights and color gels. Okay? So we have gels. And some of our spotlights can change hue or intensity. Sorry for my spelling. Okay? So there's ways to take the lights and adjust them. You can adjust them by direction, you can adjust them by proximity, you can adjust the rectangular ones on the back. There's a dial and it will actually make it more or less intense. And if you click it again, it will actually change the lumens, which makes it look either more warm or more cool as you turn the dial. And so all of these things are ways that you have to create those pictures to really accentuate the textures that are there. Now, the other things that we have, okay, so all the stuff that we had for the motion and other stuff, the light tables, right, and the spotlights and other stuff are still available to you, okay? But it's just a matter of sort of seeing what's out there and putting it together and taking some pictures, okay? So you can, I would suggest that you work in groups of approximately 4 people. So 3 people would be the low end, 5 people would be the high end, okay? And each group will have a camera, kind of like what we did with the motion stuff, so it's not all that unusual, right? And then to be able to share those photographs. Now, everybody, well, not everybody, but some people ask an interesting question. Hi, how are you today? Yes, this period, okay. How many pictures? Okay. What does the assignment? Let's put this in red. So we're going to have 6 textures, 6 examples of textures. Okay, and I would say at least 20 pics for each. And then you're going to narrow those down to 4 each. And we're going to stop there. Okay? Because what I'm having you do is I'm having you collect some photos that we're then going to use after winter break to do some other Photoshop stuff. Oh, Photoshop stuff! Guess what happened over the long weekend? We got access to Adobe. Oh my God. All right, so make sure you have these notes down. And you have 2 options. If you and your group want to take some time to just explore what are available to create photos of different textures, you can do that. If you want to take a minute to get into, don't tell me, Adobe Creative Cloud, and make sure that Photoshop at least is downloaded. You can also download Illustrator, that'll be fine. These licenses that you are activating by installing that program will follow you. So if you